Hello everybody and welcome to BrickVault. Today I get to present to you an amazing LEGO Star Wars creation. This is the AT-AP, the All-Terrain Attack Pod, designed by David Buckles. That's the same guy that put together the AT-TE, and interestingly enough within the Star Wars universe, not only is the AT-AP sort of based on the AT-TE design, you can kind of see that with the shape of the front of the head there, but the Republic developed this walker in order to have basically the same kind of firepower as an AT-TE, but just cheaper to produce and easier to maneuver on the battlefield. It's got that same mass driver cannon in the center, which makes it incredibly effective at taking out much larger and more heavily armored vehicles on the other side. Before I jump into all of the details of both the AT-AP and the LEGO model here, this custom build, first I do want to say that if you wanted to build this for yourself, you can get the custom building instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. Included with each purchase are the PDF step-by-step building files as well as a digital parts list for ordering all of the pieces that you will need for this model online. We absolutely love the support we've been getting from you guys so far. Buying instructions is a great way to help support what we do here at the channel as well as the designers that we work with like David. He's got a lot of other Clone Wars era designs under his belt. I highly recommend you check out the stuff that he puts out. But now let's focus back on the AT-AP, or nicknamed the Sniper Tank. The extremely long and accurate cannon in the center gave it that nickname, and the total length of this model, including the cannon, is 18 inches long, 46 centimeters. It's 14 inches high, or 36 centimeters, and 10.5 inches wide, 27 centimeters. It fits just in line with the minifig scale Star Wars builds that we have all along up in the web store that you can see flashing by the screen. And it's a really fun and interesting challenge for the designers that we work with to try to build at a particular size and attempt to make the Lego bricks match the proportions of the original models that you see from the Star Wars universe. Now, getting into the details of this model, it's incredibly robust for its interesting shape and size, and there's a decent amount of functionality included as well. The middle leg has the ability to fold up in the center. Usually this leg is only necessary when it's stabilizing itself on rough terrain, or of course if it is absorbing the massive recoil of that center cannon. The multiple joints in the middle leg are relatively loose, and that makes it easy for you to fold the leg back in on itself and connect to the center at the bottom here. It's a pretty easy function to perform, and I like that David put together the foot in such a way that when you just kind of pull on the general shape, it breaks away in the correct space. That's always greatly appreciated on custom builds. There is no posability really when it comes to the legs for such a large model like this. You generally want as much stability as possible, considering it's mostly on these two legs, or it actually can completely rely on the weight of the two legs. So when you look at the bottom, there's a little bit of variability when you can play around with some of the joints around the feet, but all the main large jointed spots on the legs are in fact completely solid. In the long run, this just makes handling and displaying the model way easier, because trying to include different poses for this guy with the two main legs, I think David realized would just make it way too weak, and you just wouldn't really be able to have much fun with it at all. But getting back into the functions, the smaller anti-personnel cannon at the bottom it's actually a medium cannon, so it's really not that light of a weapon. It's got some posability. It turns from side to side and can go up and down just a little bit here. And then of course there's the larger cannon at the very top that has its own gunner, and that's basically got full 360 degree range. Now, seating a figure in the gunner seat or taking him out doesn't necessarily count as a play function, or I would say functionality to the model, but it certainly is an interactive feature, and then you can take the entire top of the AT-AP off and it reveals an excellent interior. Often Star Wars vehicles will always claim that they can seat several pilots or troops or something into small spaces, but that's not the case for the AT-AP. It is only designed to fit 3 troopers at any time. The seat on the left-hand side that has the little handles there is for the pilot, and the seat on the right-hand side controls the other weapons. You can also see that he's talking directly to the projection of the Emperor, which is a really, really fun detail. And that blue dish in the center is sort of meant to represent a 3D digital map of the terrain in front of and around the AT-AP as it walks. The seats are built incredibly well. I love the details around them. And then behind both the pilots, you can see a huge pile of the armaments. These are the projectiles from the main cannon in the center. I think they look excellent here. They add a lot of flair to the interior. This is more than just a place to put minifigures, but there really is a lot of fun details. There's some rifles on the side in case the AT-AP gets disabled and the pilots have to jump out. And frankly, this is just the beginning of the excellent details that are covering this entire model. I don't have to get into the specifics of how proportionally accurate this thing is. If you have the time to really go through some of the videos and or 3D renderings of this model, you'll know that the shapes that make up the outside are wonderful, but I really, really love all the fun, finer details that David managed to include. Right by the front of the nose, we have this singular offset, more heavily armored shape, I suppose, just on the right-hand side. He's included a shield piece and some interesting parts there, and along either side of the head, there's just a little bit of subtle color variation with the olive green. Oops, I almost totally forgot this functionality. It's on either side of the head, and I almost forgot because it's just so dang well hidden, but the side can in fact fold open. This is how the pilots and gunner would actually get into their vehicle, and also how they would get out, especially if they needed to make an escape. If it fell onto one side, there's doors on both sides. David's done the same kind of technique for several of his other models, and he's just got a way of hiding doors into the side of angular builds that I just can't really wrap my head around. There's some excellent details for the cannon towards the top. The whip represents some type of wire detailing, and the ski stabilizing piece I think is meant to be some sort of targeting viewfinder. As you move into the big back dark bluish gray dense piece of the body here, there's still excellent bits of bar and greebling details. David made great use of those tread pieces in the center and the wheel rims, and there's lots of excellent joint detailing along the sides by the legs. Along the outer edge of either side, you can see a veneer of some wedge plates with a little bit of grille and other details, while the inside of the leg is mostly Technic, which of course pretty much makes sense because of how heavy the top of this model really is. In the underside, where the foot attaches in the center, there's a great use of black disc pieces, and frankly there's just wonderful details to notice everywhere all over this model. It is incredibly well put together. And speaking of which, let's jump into the handling section of this video. Custom builds on average are usually not quite as robust as a Lego set. It's not designed to be played with by a 6-year-old, but you also don't have to handle it in an extremely dainty way, like if you sneeze or if you breathe too hard, it's just gonna fall over and turn into a million pieces. Starting off by just pulling and prodding and poking different areas of the model, testing out all the tiny greebly bits, there isn't anything that really pops out to me in a way that feels like a strange connection or a break that would happen in a place that you wouldn't expect. This bit of dark gray that sticks up in the very back has enough tension to where you could pick up the model from here if you really wanted, though I generally wouldn't recommend it just because there's so much big flat strong space on the bottom of the model that you can pretty much pick up this thing anywhere from the middle. The legs are also incredibly robust, and it almost feels like every part of this build that is in dark gray can be handled really roughly, and then you should probably handle anything in light gray just a little bit lighter. The panel details have to stick on in special little angles, so of course they're not attached by as many studs, but honestly, it feels pretty rock solid through and through. The model is built with the tendency for it to want to lean back a little bit, and that's because there's so much weight that ends up being pushed forward onto the front of the head and with the cannon and everything, that is just sort of the natural tendency. So long story short, it is pretty strong, surprisingly strong in fact for its size and shape, and David included all the features on this model that I think exist in universe. I can't think of anything that really is lacking in terms of me being able to want to manipulate or move around on this Lego build. So anyways guys, if you enjoy this video, if you enjoy the model. Let me know, leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever, do whatever you want to do. Remember, the building instructions can be found at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. Of course, like always, let me know what types of models you will want to see in the future. As far as I can tell, you basically are trying to get every single type of Star Wars anything built at some point, but of course we are open to any and all suggestions. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.